So that was Insectual by Kali Moss, visuals by Sai Ram Ved. I think all our artists have joined in. Hi everyone. We'll do a quick sound check. Do you guys want to try out if things are on? I'm also gonna check if stuff is working here. We have
check testing
places, so it's a bit of a scene, but hopefully it'll all work properly. Yeah. So do you guys just want to go introduce yourself?
Can you hear me fine?
Yes, we can.
I can hear me fine, so that's good. Okay, what up? I'm Satyarth, also known as Trophallaxis, and I co-curated this compilation with Beatnik, Padma. I also live code, obviously. I have live code sound, visuals, and I play the tabla. So I won't keep it too long. Let's move on with the introductions. I can call on someone. Abhishek, do you want to introduce yourself?
Hey, hi everyone. I'm Abhishek. I'm a creative technologist. For this project, I was working with Beatnik on his zine. So I was the creative coder zine artist for this project.
Please call on someone after you're done.
Oh, sure. Samir.
Hi. Oh, okay. I can hear myself, so I know that I'm audible. Okay, I'm Samira. I did visuals, Watercotropies, Hyperpole Solution, and I was using p5.js, and he was using SonicPad. I was really fun with coding with him.
You guys can be loud, it's fine. You don't have to whisper. It's okay.
Oh, sorry. Nandini.
We'll manage audio levels for you here.
Yeah, it was fun to hear our own feedback, but I had a little practice during sound checks, so I'm quite enjoying it now. Hi, everybody. I am Nanditi, and my track in the compilation would have been the first one that you all heard on Fast Times. And now I can't hear myself. Oh, you have muted. Okay. Yeah, so that is Fast Times, and my practice has its roots in Hindustani classical music, and I also really like making atmospheric, ambient, electronic music, so there is a lot of soundscapes going on. I use field recordings and small recorded samples to build the tracks, and sometimes my own vocals. Everything is processed and sculpted and sometimes even trained within the code itself. I use SonicPy for most of my track making, music making, even music teaching, and the classical forms are amazing to work with in a coded medium. So I use a lot of those. Rhythms, melodies are coming from there, and I love to use the raga system since most of the tracks are atmospheric, about evoking emotion or traveling to certain memories or time or experiences. So the raga system really helps in picking the right thing, right one for the kind of atmosphere, for the listener to also travel to that world. So I guess that's what you would have heard in the first one. And I also use a lot of deep listening practices in the whole process. That's the central part through which everything is created. Yeah, and that's about me. And one of the collaborators in the album called code.drift is also a community that was formed from this practice. And I've been associated with Algorave since 2019, and we are all like one big octopus propelling different creative coding practices around the country and hopefully beyond. So yeah, that's all. Thank you, and I would call on Sai.
Hey folks, I'm Sai. I work on visuals in sexual, so that would be the last piece you've probably heard. My practice is mostly around like motion design and using data visualization. I often like use text as well as a material to move text around on the screen to derive meaning out of it. Um, yeah, like for the visuals, I'd use P5, and it was super fun, kind of trying to translate the wonderful audioscapes that Moss had created. So yeah, I guess Anushka, maybe you can go next.
Anushka, you're in the mix.
Yes, can you hear me?
Perfect.
Okay. Hi everyone. I am Anushka. I go as Ophelia.game on the internet. I don't do as much gaming as I think I should, but I'm gonna start soon. So yay. I designed the poster for this album, and the idea I had was to get pictures of windows from everybody, because everybody that's like lots of people on the group are in different parts of the world, and I wanted to see what they're looking at when they're making their music or visuals. And so the poster kind of brings together everybody's windows. And yeah, for me, I do visuals. I'm mostly using code as my medium of expression, and it was really lovely to do the poster for you guys. So thank you. Okay, I need to call on someone. Joshua.
Hi everyone. So I go by the name Tiger Babu, obviously, but so I made the track Baby Gharial, which I actually don't know which in the sequence. There was a part where we lost the audio, so I'm not sure which in the sequence it was. But I'm fundamentally a sound editor and a podcast producer. And I've been using Sonic Pi since 2017. But outside of just making music, and I love pop music also, and I've done this whole series of just sequencing a minute from uh, pop tracks, doing live streams of how I code 1 minute of the melody and bass lines of a lot of pop music. But outside of that, I use Sonic Pi also in a lot of the sound design for the podcasts I work on, because it's, otherwise you have to use a lot of royalty free libraries and all this kind of stuff. So it helps with a lot of my work as well. And of course, I love the fact that it lends itself to dance music, because I love, a good rager at the end of the day. So um, that's my intro. Now I have to call on somebody. I think Anandit is left. Does that count? Anandit?
So, no, wait, you have to come on the mic though. I have to come on the mic.
Or I'll call on Koparji. How about that? Koparji. You go.
All right, so I am Koparji. Wait, where should I sit? Is the question. I want to address both the people here as well as, people there and people wherever. So I'm Koparji. I co-founded Algorave India. Tiger Babu has been with us from the start, but there's like a whole army of people from all over the country who've been doing things. I think the first Algorave actually happened because of the Open Codes exhibition, because of Goethe Institute. So thanks to them, because of whom we have Alexandra also here. So I do my practice mostly with this platform called Tidal Cycles, I've been doing live coding things for a while. The idea with live coding and the whole thing that we try to do is what we started out with today was make programming into a performance art form. So code not just as something you give instructions to some dead box and then it just spits out something, but put some liveness in it and use it as an instrument, as an expressive instrument that you can play with and perform with, and like have showmanship in it and all those kind of things. Yeah. So who should I pick on next? We're done with everyone on the call, right?
Yeah.
We're done with everyone on the call?
Done
Yeah?
with the introductions.
Okay, so cool. I'm going to pick on Padma.
Thanks. Hello. I am Padmanavan. I go by this name Beatnik as my performance alias. And I don't know what I'm doing most of the time. But I make music and I work with sound a lot. In terms of live coding, I've been dabbling with a bunch of these tools and since the pandemic, because there was nothing more to do. And I think I stumbled upon Tiger Babu's composition around 2019. That's when I learned about live coding and creating music with code and all of that. I reached out to him and then everything happened from there. So I started with something what he was also using called Sonic Pi, and then for some reason Sonic Pi stopped working on my laptop, so then I changed to another programming language called Orca. And then from there I moved back to, Kopertzi kind of introduced me to this tidal cycles, so then I started playing with tidal cycles and it was really fun. Now I have trouble installing tidal cycles, so I think I'll go back to using Orca again.
Or a new one.
Or a new one, I don't know. We will see. For this compilation, I was using tidal cycles to create the track Disinfect, which has a bunch of noisy, glitchy, and other stuff. But it was like a fun 2-week jam that kind of made this track kind of happen. It was really interesting.
As an in-joke, Padma's aim in life most of the time is to try to make his computer crash in the middle of a performance. He'll always mention that in his performance description, that in this performance I'm going to make my computer crash. And it hardly ever crashes.
It happens after or before the performance, not during.
While making this track, he tried to make his computer crash and we were kind of successful.
Always. After or before, not during the performance.
For making this track, you did crash your computer.
Huh.
Yes.
Successful. I don't have any more people to nominate, I guess. So I think we do what?
We do have Anandit to talk.
Yes, Anandit can talk a little bit about, this entire album this entire album was released under Anandit's record label, Antariksh Records, so he can maybe talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, hi everyone, hi everyone, my name is Anandit. I run this small independent label called Antariksh Records. We started back in 2018. Primarily the idea or the goal of the record label was to platform alternative independent artists who were not getting platformed otherwise. By and through running the label, I found out that there is so much talent in this country that needs to be platformed. So the goal of the label has also sort of changed, and in platforming alternative artists, the idea of platforming alternative formats also came into being. And over the last 1.5-ish years, my own practice has changed. The way that the label is curated has changed. And this album also sort of hints towards that sort of change. The way, of course, Padma reached out to me to sort of put this album out. One of the interesting things that I must mention is that the process of putting out this album was extremely democratic, to the extent that our original timeline was 2 months, and that got stretched to 6 months. So, Yeah, and the second thing that I really want to mention is that coding artists love using the color black. In every artwork and in every photograph, you can only see so. Just I mean, they are not complaints. They are really friendly things to work with, and I had a lot of fun working with all the artists, 20 artists plus.
Dark mode for the win.
Yeah, plus the mastering engineer Adi, who's based out of Mumbai. Shout out to him. He has been working with the label for the past 5 years. And also Ophelia, who's present here for the lovely artwork that was made. So yeah, that's about it. Happy to address any other questions regarding the release. Thanks.
Right. All right, so what do we talk about next? The tracks themselves? Yeah, no, I mean, we can talk more about Algorave, we can talk more about live coding, but I mean, do you guys have any questions about any of the tracks that we had a whole listening session right now? Sorry, you missed some of it, but you can try some of these tracks out on the website, music.algorave.in. We are also on Bandcamp.
We also have a few packages to, if anybody wants to pick them up. The merchandise packages include a USB, card-shaped USB, along with all the 10 zines that are present, along with a few stickers from code.drift, Algorave, and Antariksh Records. And I must also mention that the USB doesn't only have tracks, it also has some code-based goodies. So yeah, the USB also has some code-based goodies. So all the artists who made this compilation possible, they decided to share a few tidbits from the code that they had written to either generate the zine or generate the track, the audio track that we listened to. So a few of those goodies are also exclusively available only if you purchase the merchandise package.
Yeah, so we can. Yep, of course. We did, but yes, again, another round doesn't help. Yeah.
Maybe one of the artists who's joined in online would like to sort of share some personal anecdotes from their own creative process. I mean, we've all. Is the screen frozen? Okay, yeah.
No, it's not frozen.
Okay.
So everyone can hear us, right? I hope it's all good. Yep. So, the idea of this album actually, I think, initially came because of like all good comes from some sort of chaos. So there's some interesting chaos happened in the community, which kind of started breaking things apart. And then Satyarth came up with the idea that, okay, why don't we just, get all the people together and see, we've all been sitting on projects for years and years. And this is what happens to musicians all the time, that we just start poking at something and we forget the idea that art has to be abandoned at some point. We can't stop poking at it. So we just keep going at it for a long time. So Satyarth's idea was that, okay, let's go release some stuff. Do you guys want to talk about how did you choose a point?
I can add a few words.
Go on.
I wanted to initiate the compilation because I've only performed at one Algorave in India, in Delhi in 2024. And I was blown away by the amount of talent there was in the scene. I watched the live streams from the other cities and I was like, damn, we have so many cool people doing cool things, and it is so hard to find out about a lot of them on the internet. You have to really dig to find any recorded material. Hey, I guess these people are like me, who are like into music, but don't necessarily release so much music. Most of it is just jamming around or just stuck on your laptop, not released to the rest of the world. So I thought, okay, there is some potential here. All that this community needs is like one small spark, and a compilation album will get rolling on its own. That was the idea in my head. I thought, okay, let's just like throw out the idea, light the spark, and this thing will happen on its own. It did take a lot of organizing in the end, and like 6 months. But it came through, it came together, and now we have this digital imprint of the Indian Algorave scene in the year 2025. Well, some collection of it, which can be appreciated by everyone. So, yeah, good job, guys. We did it.
Woo. Whoops. Yeah, so because no one's asking questions here, if you guys have questions, please do ask. Yes, Suvani.
It's a short question. How did you choose the duration of each track?
So I actually chose the duration of my track before we even started. I said, okay, there's going to be a 3-minute track. Yeah, no, I knew that I could do 3 minutes without just getting into the loop, and just wanted to get a quick statement out, and that's about it. For me, that's what it is. What about you guys?
I don't think it was a conscious decision at all. I didn't want to push the limit in terms of length, but I knew I want to have a couple of things going on there, and like for them to have enough time to breathe. So it came out 7 minutes. Anyone else want to take it on?
Yeah, I mean, we initially thought we will do.
We should keep reintroducing ourselves who's speaking, because we're not there on the screen all the time.
Oh yeah.
Or
Where is?
on the radio.
Siri, okay. Again, it's fine. They can hear by the voice. Initially we were thinking of having like a cassette tape release instead of a digital release altogether. So we were having that constraint kind of limiting the length of the track. So of course, like some of us kind of had like different lengths for sure, but that kind of made sure that all the tracks shouldn't be more than like 7 minutes or 9 minutes or something. So then we were kind of working backwards, but then also we figured out budget-wise we can't do a cassette release at the moment. Inshallah, we do it later. So that kind of made us create this pen drive that's been roaming around right now, which has the tracks in whichever lengths that they are.
Yeah, I mean, with dance tracks, the idea is like 3 to 5 minutes is the thing, right? Like that's what gives DJs enough variety to stick it in somewhere and have fun with it themselves, because like art is abandoned at some point and somebody else picks it up and then does cool things with it, and that's how art evolves.
Yeah, I was wondering whether
You have the mic?
Yeah, I do have one. Are all the artists in the album like solo artists, or are there also some kind of collaborative acts or?
The collaborations have been between visual artists and the music artists.
But is within the community like Algorave, are there also some kind of live coding bands and stuff?
We've attempted. I mean,
Okay.
in the world, yes.
Yeah, of course.
Because a lot of us kind of connected because of that. We used to jam remotely on like various different platforms. But as of now, in the Algorave India scene, it hasn't stayed consistent. So we would have like a quick jam and then just everyone.
And the tracks, was there some kind of a prompt or invitation, or were the tracks prepared already, and or did they respond to your invitation to contribute to an album? Like, what was that initiation?
So the curation stuff I wasn't a part of. It was mostly Padma Beatnik and Satyarth's Trophallaxis. Yeah. Do you guys want to say stuff?
I can say there was no real prompt as such or restrictions on genres. We just wanted to encourage people to make sounds that highlighted the possibilities of live coding specifically. So, for example, I wanted to do something which you can't or have a very hard time doing without code, with traditional audio production or with live music. So I played around with time cycle and rhythms a lot, which is really easy to change in code, but it's something that might break your brain if you're trying to play an instrument live. So I think, there was no unifying theme or prompt for the album. It was make some sounds using code, show us what you got. And I think we got a lot of very different, very unique sounding tracks, so that fit the purpose. Anyone else want to add something?
Yeah, at least for this variant of the compilation, I think we were a little mean to the visual artists because we kind of came up with the track and told them, okay, this is what we have, this is what our idea of the track is. Hopefully for the next one, some visual artists can lead the charge and give us the prompt to do things with.
I had a question.
Yeah, microphone.
Sure, of course.
I'm kind of thinking out loud as I go, so it's a bit of a rough question, but I was in and out. I haven't heard all the tracks. I heard a few, and in general, earlier this year there was an Algorave that I kind of caught, and my question is to do with the relationship of the musician with the instrument, particularly because the ecosystem of kind of programming-based sound production platforms, softwares or languages is quite vast in that sense. But a few of them are quite kind of like Orca or Tidal, things like that are kind of on the horizon, and somehow just the way any instrument produces a particular kind of horizon of making sound. You take a woodwind, you have a particular range of instrument that it gives you. Particular programming languages also have kind of a range that they allow you to enter and make you think in certain ways in terms of music. In the sense of, for example, the way I was hearing Satyarth, a lot of zines also have this kind of an addressal or a question on rhythm. Because a lot of programming languages give you a certain framework of playing around rhythmically in terms of breaking a time cycle into different patterns and parts, and then, or for example, this idea of dance music that keeps coming up in this context. So I was curious whether there is this kind of a unexpressed layer underneath the compilation or the kind of music that gets produced that could be spoken not through the fact that it's made with code, because in that sense, every kind of digital synthesizer today is basically code based, but through another language which is to do with the kind of the forms that are coming out. Just a question.
I would say we had someone had a response about the prompt. Do you want to address that and then we come to this question?
I just wanted to add that as far as I know, everybody made new tracks for the compilation. No one was repurposing anything that was old. And also I think this is an answer maybe to the other question that was asked, but with the way I think coding works, it's like any instrument. It's like when you sit down with it, you're kind of exploring and you kind of don't know what you're going to get at the end of it, but every time you sit with it, it's something new. It's like you hardly regurgitate old ideas, or you might have old ideas that you pick and mix and stuff, but I think just coding itself, or when you're making stuff, it just you're always generating something new. So yeah. It feels like that anyway.
So I would say about the rhythmic part that you were mentioning that so this is an Algorave India album, right? So Algorave, the idea itself is more about kind of dancing and performing and all of that with these methods. It's not that the live coding practice or the way this method of making music and visuals can only do cycles or rhythmic cycles or whatever. It's just that rhythm drives people very easily. So that's something I would say is a quick thing to access to make people move, which is what a lot of us were trying to do with the tracks that we were putting together. But the album itself has like such a variation on the kind of sounds that are in there. There's complete sound design and like just field recordings and those kind of things also in there. So I wouldn't say that the tool defines the sound. It's always the artist that defines the sound. The tool is just there to help you express yourself. Anyone want to add anything else?
The tool, I think the possibilities are so vast that you can't really catch some characteristic sound of the tool. Like you noticed that there's cycles and they're subdivided evenly. Maybe that, but that's a thing in pretty much all of music. But apart from the technological aspect, there's the cultural one. So someone sat down and wrote tidal cycles, and then a small community formed around it, and they made tutorials for each other. They shared techniques with each other, and if you're in the live coding scene, I think you can recognize certain very well-known techniques that are just not so much a technical part of the sound, but cultural. Just because they're so popular, people use them a lot, and now live coding is even blowing up I see it on Instagram Reels and stuff. People like Switch Angel are making it really popular. So I'm curious to see where this cultural part of the sound moves on next.
Nanditi, you can speak a little bit about the melodic side of things and the stuff that you guys have been doing with code.drift itself. That defines a lot of the stuff I'm talking about. It's not the tool; it's what you guys do with it.
Yeah. I think what we've been trying to do also in India is that how can we look creative coding as a practice that's really rooted in the local and is inspired by what you see around you, the people around you, the culture around you, the city that you are in, or whatever you're experiencing, your personal memories. So it's really unique, personal, and really, situated in a way. So that's what we're trying to explore, and it's really bringing out very different, unique outputs that are very rare to see in the creative coding world has been until now. And India being so diverse, amazing works coming out both in terms of the sounds the code is creating and the visuals that it's creating. That resonates with what Abhinay was saying, that it's the artist who...
Yeah, could you also tell us what code.drift is and what you guys do?
Yeah, so code.drift is essentially a community, creative coding practice of sorts, also a workshop camp format where a bunch of people get together, they roam around a city and really immerse themselves in it and immerse themselves in some deep listening practices very organically, and then get inspired from what they find there in that city, in that culture, and then create something, bring all of that material and inspiration and stories to the workshop or whatever, a jamming format, and then use coding as a tool to create and express what they saw or what they experienced. So both in terms of music and soundscape and in immersive visual sets, and it all kind of comes together as an audio-visual live coding performance. Both Algorave and code.drift look very different, like when you see a performance. But it's essentially the people who are doing it is like kind of similar across the community, and it all comes out of that, and we've all started from Algorave and then discovered our own unique ways and then trying to propel that. So yeah, so code.drift is also one of the communities which is trying to create its own way of dabbling in creative coding. And yeah, traveling across cities, and the whole year we'll be on a yatra going through various Indian cities, and we prefer smaller towns because it's easier to roam around. Roaming around is a main part of code drift, and that's why it's a drift. So local context is very important.
We've heard enough yapping from music artists, audio artists. Can we have the visuals people also just tell us a little bit about their process? Yeah, Samira, like you've been just...
Yes, I can go. I can share a little bit about the process because it was the first time for me also to collaborate making visuals for someone, because I mostly have done music till now. I started with code.drift, and because Nanditya and Amika both take up, one person takes up the visuals and one person takes up the music, so I did learn P5JS from code drifting as well. So it's really fun looking at the cities and the smaller towns, and you just roam around and you pick up so much more when you're trying to observe in that way. And then you can play around with code and you can make visuals move, you can dissect, you can just create any kind of narrative. It's so much fun. So but after that I was just doing music, and then I started doing visuals for this album, and it was so cool because Rogan Tropi was already, he was prepared with the song, and it might sound like that it was given and then you just make it, but eventually you have to create some kind of boundary around the universe, otherwise you can't design, right, anything. So it's nice that he created the boundary, and then I was just okay, and it was so much fun because there were organic elements in the song, and there was also a very political take, so it was hilarious in a way, and kind of not so grounded, kind of airy, and and also techno. So I like that kind of scene going on. So I was immediately like, okay, I'll do this track. It sounds really good. And then we started talking, and he was so open with the idea for visuals, and he was very receptive of it. So it's actually fun to do it with artists who are also open to other people's point of view, and they're like, okay, let's just do it like this, because we're both very different. We think very differently, and we're inspired by very different visuals. So it turned out to be the way it turned out, kind of like a mix of both of us, I guess. And his take on, because he had his audio was based on like a beat of these bird sounds that he captured in the Himalayas, and then then I tried to recreate that bird sound because it was so prominent in the track, and then I tried to recreate it in visuals in a way that is also a little bit airy. So I picked up all these mythological references about birds in India, and some really crazy stuff came out. And then when you're when you're taking out samples and everything, you're also very conscious of using copyleft material or material that is in the public domain. So that's also good exercise, I think, fair ethical exercise in this time of AI stuff. And then the song also had a take on AI, and it was really funny. You should listen to the song. If you didn't, okay. It was really funny, and then it was nice for me to think a little bit about how can I touch AI without touching AI, and what are we doing here? And this is digital stuff. So I picked up a lot of references of paintings from colonial era. There were these painters who were doing it's a particular style of art called um, I think it's colonial something, colonial time painters did it, and it's a very specific art. So all these birds were from that art, and it looked very nice to me. And during the same time, of course, the paintings that I used for mythology were also similar during that time. and all of them had this thread going to birds. So that sounded nice. I used patterns, and the name of the song is Hyperbole Samosa, which is so hilarious. And so used some patterns, did some techno pattern stuff with it, and some sound reactive stuff with coding. So all in all, it was really fun. What? Okay, wait, hold on. I will tell the art style.
Oh no, that's for later. Don't worry about it. I'm just
Yeah.
writing.
By the way,
Oh,
one
okay.
person who kind of
Okay, I
joined
thought
us
everyone wanted.
later was Pratyush. He's been very quiet. And his track sounds like, very different from most of the things. Did he just disappear? No, he's still here. Hey. Do you want to tell us about Ashlands and Winterscapes as well?
Yeah, sure. Lil Anvers was keeping on the low. I'm fascinated by the interplay between what is algorithmic and what is natural. So I always try to build technical sounds from samples, and a kind of opposite of that, like build natural sounds out of programming. And that is what I've tried to do in the track. And I like wind noises a lot and sea sounds a lot. So I try to algorithmically create those and then figure out where to go from there. So this was one of my explorations as such. Yeah, there's not much to talk about, just like that exploration and see where it goes.
Sure. Sai, do you want to tell us some stuff about the artwork as well as the website? Because that was mainly your baby, so we just kind of helped out.
Yeah. I mean, for the zine itself, it was interesting. The process was interesting because like my work is usually visual first. So, like, I come up with the algorithm for the visuals, and then if I, find music to go with it, then like I kind of pick afterwards. But it was interesting, like collaborating with someone where kind of the audio is the core and then the visuals are kind of influenced by the audio. Um, so at the start, we kind of just had a call together where we just listened to the initial draft track just like together and try to see what kind of thoughts came up. Um, and this was the last track that you all heard. If you can remember, it's a very like airy, spacious. So it's a spacious track, and both of us kind of had this sense of fear while we were listening to it. Something where being like lost in a forest or being tipped over. So all of these kind of feelings started coming up, and that's what I tried to translate into visuals. And during the same time, while we were designing this, I was also learning about a lot of like uh, bringing natural forms into code. So stuff like trees growing or birds moving around. So these kind of parts is what I took from the like a bit of math and a bit of the code to kind of replicate what I was thinking about, fear and losing my own centrality, which is why you can see the visuals kind of wandering around and moving about. So yeah, and then the website itself is interesting because uh, it's kind of like to showcase the collection, right? All of the zines, all of the music at the same spot. So I don't know. I felt it was interesting to just have it all in one view. So we just like divided the space, which is the page you see, the screen real estate, into like 10 different zones, and each of them has its own kind of space. So yeah.
So we have Manasvi Eardrummerman also joining us from wherever you are right now. Please tell us more. So he's made this track called It Lies. Beautiful, beautiful track. That the blue one. You want to tell us more about the track and what you do?
Hello, everybody. I'm Manasvi. I'm also go by Eardrummerman. Yes, I see some hand waves in the real world. I wish I was in the real life space with you. Hopefully, I can be with soon. But mostly, I want to say that I got to be part of this amazing group of people who make music and visuals, and this compilation and this Algorave India community and project brought together so many different minds that think about sound and technology and code, and it really reminds me a little bit that technology. Or AI or something. It's not like one thing. We all got to rip it apart in our own ways, and as individuals, but also as cultures to discover what it means for our communities, what stories we want to tell. Sorry, I'm like just going into this philosophical tangent because I got to hear all of the artists kind of speak a little bit about why they made what they made, and so I'm so inspired by everybody's thoughts. I am currently in Boston, in the USA, and it's 8 a.m., which is probably not like very early in the morning by normal standards, but for me it is. So I'm glad I could join. And over here, I make art and music and installations, and I work with operas and symphonies around the world because I'm a PhD student right now at MIT in the Media Lab. And I get to do both my PhD work, which is about building tools, and then with exclusives like this, get together with friends to take those tools and actually like write songs, which is my favorite thing to do anyway. I did use AI mostly to complain, but if there are any questions, we can. What I'm really excited about is now this listening session allowed people to listen. Maybe we can later have like sessions to teach people to cover our songs or like make new versions of how we thought about our tools. Yeah, I'm glad to be here. My song is called It Lies. And it's mostly, there is like a poetry which I wrote like 4 years ago about how everything looks like lies. And it's very interesting. My collaboration with Mike, who was the visual artist, led to so many great conversations about who is really lying. Is it the technology? Is it the government? Is it like the data sets? Is it me actually? Because last time I felt like I was lying. So yeah, glad to be here.
I think everything lies, all right. So I guess that's the end of it. Unless you guys have any more questions to ask people, we're good.
We could also touch upon how he did the code for the arrangement of the tracks.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe talk about a little about that also.
Okay. Do you want to talk about it, Manasvi?
Maybe chose how the tracks are arranged.
You want to just tell him?
Yeah. Sorry, just maybe Manasvi could also talk about the arrangement of the tracks a little and how we sort of ended up having that conversation, making the playlist, yeah. And Satyarth was also involved in that conversation, yeah.
Yes, absolutely. It was such a collection of very different kinds of music under the umbrella of dance music. We were on a call deciding how we should order the tracks, in what order we should order them. And there was like a random kind of a joke or something thrown about saying, hey, what if we let the algorithm decide the order or AI decide the order? And so I did use, on that call actually, I started like writing a code on the side of using librosa, which is a signal processing thing. So it looks at music and it can tell you statistics of how many beats are in there, how much tempo is in there, what chords and what harmonies in there. It's like an analysis tool. Things like Spotify recommendation algorithms use those algorithms behind the scenes to say this song similar to this song. So I kind of wrote a code to analyze our 10 tracks and give us like a graph of like, here's how the tempo and beats are like rising and falling. And so by the end of the call, I had like algorithm track list, and then we had a vote between a few different sequences, and I think maybe one of them won, but maybe that's what Anandit is saying. But yeah, it was fun to use technology even in thinking about the ordering of it. Though I have to again center. It's not really about the technology. It was the fun was about us in that call being like, wait, can that happen? And then later being like, wait, that was not a bad idea. So it was on us actually that the idea was meaningful.
I think we ended up editing the track order a bit, so there was some human intervention, but it was just one track. It was mainly the technology. So I think it was a happy harmony between the two approaches. And yeah, I think the thing the algorithm came up with is something that I wouldn't have come up with myself. It was a little non-obvious, so that's why I think everyone really vibed with it.
I'm going to end this with what Manasvi says in his track at the end. It's human music, right? So, thanks everyone for joining us today. This is Algorave India. This is Algorave India Compilation One. Hopefully many more to come. And hopefully see you guys very soon. Yes. Thanks so much. Yeah, a group picture with everyone in the call as well. Is that okay? I'm going to stop the stream here. So, yeah. And loads happening.